Capital punishment in Spain. The 1978 Spanish Constitution bans capital punishment in Spain. Spain completely abolished capital punishment for all offenses, including during wartime conditions, in October 1995. The last executions were carried out on September 27, 1975, when 5 members of ETA and revolutionary anti-fascist Patriotic Front FRAP were executed by firing squad for murder following a much-publicized trial in which a number of the convicted. Strangulation by garrote had been portrayed as a draconian act by the public after its last use in 1974, when Salvador Puig Antich was executed in Barcelona and Heinz Chez in Tarragona. History. Capital punishment was common in the Spanish kingdom, and methods used included decapitation, especially for nobility. In 1820, Ferdinand Roman VII replaced all other methods with the garotte, which was used mainly since then, including for the liberal freedom fighter Mariana de Pine de Muñoz and the assassin of 6-time Prime Minister of Spain Antonio Canovas del Castillo. According to a pamphlet published anonymously by Crown Prince Oscar Bernadotte, Spain was the most frequent executioner of the Western world in the early 1800s, followed by his native Sweden. The penalty was abolished by the Second Spanish Republic in 1932, but restored 2 years later in the midst of social and political turmoil for a few major offenses, not including murder. Francoist Spain. Capital punishment in Francoist Spain was restored fully on decree in 1938. From 1940 to 1975, by one estimate, at least 706 executions by firing squad were reported only in Barcelona until 1952. Among the most relevant executed from this period there is Lluís Companys, president of the Generalitat of Catalonia. As Franco's regime was consolidated, use of capital punishment became scarcer. Between 1950 and 1959, 58 Spaniards, including 2 women, were executed by garotte and 9 by firing squad. In the 1960s, the total number of executions dropped to 6, 2 in 1960, 2 in 1963, and 2 in 1966, less than in neighboring France, although several of the convictions were considered political. Due to criticism, a 6-year moratorium followed, broken when Pedro Martínez Expósito was shot in 1972 for homicide and robbery. The next executions of Salvador Puig Antich and Heinz Chez in 1974 were allegedly held on the same day to deliberately confuse public sentiments and equalize the execution of a political opponent. Both were convicted of killing Guardia Civil members with that of a common murderer. The last 5 death sentences were carried out simultaneously in Madrid, Barcelona, and Burgos on 27 September 1975, prompting Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme, amongst other harsh condemnations, to denounce the regime as devilish murderers the following day. The imposition of the death penalty for terrorism followed its own logic during Franco's dictatorship. Sometimes it was not swiftly carried out, such as in the case of Andrés Ruiz Marquez Coronel Montenegro, a member of a Spanish National Liberation Front felon commando who had set up a string of small bombs in Madrid. He was arrested by the Spanish police in 1964 and condemned to death, but saw his sentence commuted to life in prison.